Hey, what's up guys, Jeremy here. While simulating pick-and-place applications inside RoboDK, the feature you will use the most is certainly Attach and Detach. So let's see how it works. As the name suggests, the Attach and Detach feature help you pick and place objects in the 3D environment. So let's see how we can use it. So first of all, let's open our example station. If you open module 3, pick and place, you will find 03A basic pick and place. All the other stations I used during the overview, the video just prior to this one, are also available here. So you can find many tricks that won't necessarily be covered in the next few videos, but will be covered at some point during the training. But if you need to go ahead and pick some of the tricks here, feel free to do it. So for now, we'll use the 03A basic pick and place, drag and drop that to our station. So what we have here, very simple. We have a table, we have a UR5E robot, we have a static gripper, just a robotic gripper here, simply opened. We have a cube here, a simple green cube, and we have two reference frames. So one reference frame called position A, one reference frame called position. If I press / I can see here position B and position A, and here I have my gripper and the robot here. So I can press / again. If you want to know where attach and detach, the attach and detach option is, it's pretty simple. You can reach it directly here in your toolbar by selecting add an event to be executed offline only, such as attaching an object to the robot gripper or robot flange. So I personally call that simulation event because those are generally only have an effect on the simulation. They won't have any effect if we at some point generate the robot program. We'll have to find a way to transfer the attach and detach or translate that to something understandable for the post-processor, but I don't want to touch on that now. This is for more advanced videos. Okay. So first, if we create a small program here, simple as usual, we create a program here. Let's call it attach. And here, let's select the simulation event. Here, it will give you the event instruction. And I also, like I said, call it simulation event instruction, but those are the same. Here you have the action drop-down menu here, and you have the choice between attach object, check, detach object, show object, hide object, set object position, relative or absolute. So we will talk about those two now, and we will talk about those later in a future video. If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be in the next module altogether. So in the next module, we'll touch on stuff that are a bit more advanced related to simulation, and that can be used to make your simulation just look better in general. So conveyor motion, showing and hiding some objects, stuff like that. But for now, let's concentrate on attach and detach. So if you select attach object, the second thing you need to do is make sure that you select the right tool. In this case, we only have one tool. But remember in the last video, I showed you the Game Boy example where I had to pick objects using either the suction cups, either the two-finger gripper, or either the screwdriver. So here, if you had more than one TCP, you could simply come in and select the one you need. Here you have measure distance as. For now, we will keep it as default. I will have a video for you in exactly 3 videos, if I'm not mistaken, looking at my notes, explaining the difference between those different settings and how knowing more about these settings here can prevent you from experiencing some bugs that aren't really bugs, but just like wrongly set parameters, if I can say. Anyway, we'll come back to that later. So if I just click OK like that, it will add to my program a attach to gripper and then the name of the gripper here. So if I was to kind of move like that here, okay, before I get this object, I just want to save this object position. So what I'll do is for now, I'll use a very simple trick. I'll just double click on it, and then you see here the object position. I will copy this object position here into a block node here, so Control V. So if I ever need to bring back this object there, I will simply copy this from here, to there, and it will bring it back where it was before. I have another way of that I will show you in 2 videos on how to do that, way easier, but I don't want to spoil myself, so for now I will use this little one. So if I go down here like that, and I bring my robot, let's say, to a position that is almost where I would like the robot to pick it. So I'm just gonna eyeball it and say, okay, if I was here, that would make sense. If you look at the station tree here, you can see that our box, which is our object, by the way, small little trick here, if you right click an object, you can select reveal in tree, and it will select the right object in your station tree. So it's a very good way to find stuff in your tree. And the other way is also true. So if you right click an object and you in your station tree and you select frame on, it will reframe directly on this object. So it will kind of center this object in your frame. So this way you can find it. It's easier to find it. Okay, so now I want to bring your attention to the fact that here, as you can see, position A box is a child. In fact, the box is a child of the frame position A. And if I launch this attach program by double clicking on it, now the box is part of gripper. So that means that if I move my gripper around, I'm gonna simply bring back my robot panel and use that. If I move my robot around, the object is now following because it's attached to the gripper, like that. So if I was to press plus a few times to make it a bit bigger, and I was to do that like this here, and bring it down here, I could say, okay, I want to drop that object here or leave it here. So what would I do is use the detach command. So the detach command here, I'm going to click create a new program. I'm going to call it detach. Perfect. And I will add a simulation event. I can either select here, or I can right click, add instruction. All the instructions are always available from here. And I can select the last one here, simulation event instruction. And this will bring me my action. I can select detach object. So now I have two choices to make. And in this case, I really need to make both. So I need to select which object is currently holding the part. So if I had multiple TCPs, I could decide to, if I had like objects on both TCPs, I could decide to just drop the object from one TCP. So I will select which one I have here, and then I will decide on what I want to drop the object. And now, when I say on what, I don't mean like on the table, on the floor. I really mean what will be the parent of that object once it's released from the gripper. So in this case, by default, it will be the station in itself. So it will simply be outside of everything. That's fine, but I don't recommend that. I would recommend you to place it onto a reference frame. So in this case, I will select position B, click OK. Now, again, the box is a child of the gripper, but if I double click detach, it's now part of position B, because as I mentioned here, if I right click modify, I decided to attach to parent, or in fact detach to parent position B. So it will attach it to position B when I release it from the gripper. So let's move back the box where it was before. So I'm going to reopen it here. I'm going to open my notepad, Control C here, and then Control V here. Now it replaced it where it was before, but it's in the wrong reference frame. So I will simply position it here, drag and drop it, relative motion. Remember, the difference between drag and dropping is that we keep the relative position. If we right click, change the port, it will keep the absolute position and just change the parent. So very important to understand this one if you want to have success with RoboDK, the difference between relative and absolute transfer. Okay, so that's pretty much everything for this video. In the next one, I will show you how to actually create the program to pick the object from here, bring it on the other side of the table, and then bring it back. That will be the objective for the next one. Okay, see you there and have a nice day, guys.